In this video, we will see how to use the Garmin Fenix 8 series. There's also the Enduro 3 and the Tactix 8, which are about the same watch. So, first thing we need to know is how to navigate in the watch. We will come to those activities later. I want to show you how much of just a sport watch this tool is. So, how to navigate inside the watch. First thing to understand is that those two buttons navigate up and down. This one select and this one go back. An example of this is that if I go down over here, we go into the widget that I think they are now called glance. So we are into glance, and as you can see, this go up, this go down. And if I select with that, I go into the menu. If I want to go back, I use back. So again, up, down, select, back. Once you understand that, you can go pretty much anywhere. You don't need to know what I'm doing on the watch. You'll pretty much understand that if it goes up, it's because I press here. If I press down, you understand. Then, there's also a double feature about this up button, and it's that when you hold it, it's the menu button. So if I hold it, I'm into glance, so I can now reorder glance. Sometime you have some sub menu when you are on something. For example, here, no, it's still reorder glance. Here, it's still reorder glance. If I go inside the widget, and I go into the menu, there, you see, we've got the weather option. So I can update the current location, I can change the temperature to Celsius or Fahrenheit. If I go into this one, press and hold, no options here. Some menu doesn't have that. ABC, altimeter, barometer, compass, press and hold. ABC option, and then I've got some option here. So there's menu everywhere. If you're on the watch face, this one, press and hold, you've got access to the watch face menu. There we are. Speaking of watch face, how to modify it? Press and hold, enter into watch face, and there you can choose another watch face. You can go on add, and there is many more other watch face available. So you can choose one of those. Personally, the one I prefer is this one. So once I'm satisfied, I select it and I can apply. So it apply that watch face, but I can modify also the data that are inside. So if I press and hold again, go into watch face, select this, and change the data, you'll see that this one is pulsing. This means that I can select it. That's the select button. And then I can modify the information that is inside. If I select it again, I'm able now to navigate to another information. You see that now it's this one that is pulsing. Now it's this one. Now it's this one. If I want to change the information, I select it, and then I can change the information. I won't go through all of the data that are available right here. I made a video right about this, and you can see it right there if you want to know more about this. Now let's go back to the watch face. I did press and hold that button here. By default, that's not the feature we have on the Fenix 8 series, but I did modify that buttons, and I'll show you how a bit later. Then let's take a look at the glance. If you go down, you got access to those glance. We've got the weather, for example, right here, on which you can see that actually it does -3, but feels like -8. We've got 85% of humidity, the maximum and minimum of the day, the wind speed, and the direction. And if we go on, you see there is 5 pages over here. So the second one gives you the hourly forecast. And here there's 3 page, so you can go up to 12 hours in the future. There's also the daily forecast, the 12-hour trend, the air quality, and the radar. Then we've got the sunrise sunset app. I love this one. When you go inside, you can see that we are here on the little white dot. That blue line represents the night, so we can see that we are at the beginning of the night. We can see that actually it seems to have a bit more night. No, not anymore. But we have the sunrise and sunset time, the dawn and the dusk. Everything is here, but if I press there, I can change date and see what it will be tomorrow, next week, last month, next month. You can have the time for every day, and you don't even need an internet connection for that. It's all built in the watch. You can also change location, so you can enter the coordinates, use the map, or save location. You can search for a city, and it will tell you all of that information. You got moonrise, well, the moon app, so you can see that today we've got 71% of moon light up. We've got the set and rise time of the moon. And we can also have it for many more days. We can also change location, very same thing. ABCs for altimeter, barometer, compass. So when you go inside here, you've got the direction that you are heading to, the altimeter and the barometer. That straight arrow means that the barometric pressure is stable. If I change page, we've got the chart for the last 4 hours of elevation. I said it was stable, but actually you can see that, well, it's pretty much stable. That's not a huge gap for 4 hours. And a compass. Let's go back here. You've got the Health app, in which you can find your body battery, which is the same thing as the battery of your watch, but for your body. A sleep score. I did not use it for a few days, so no sleep score over here. You've got your sleep coach, naps, your actual heart rate, and you can have it on a graph over here for the last 4 hours and the average for the last days. HRV status, number of steps of the day, the pulse, that's your oxygen in the blood. There's a lot of information over here, and there's a lot of other glands. You can add some glands. If you go at the very bottom here, you can hit edit. You're gonna have all of your glands. If you want to modify one, hit the pen, and then you can change the order if you'd like. If you go at the very bottom, you're gonna have add, and there is a lot of other apps that you can add on your watch. A lot of them. You just have to test it if you'd like. Let's go back to that watch face. If you go up, you're gonna have access to notifications. Actually, they are not. They are the notification that you have on your phone. Then there's also controls, which is another kind of widget glands, or they are just displayed differently. Here you can power off your watch, but you can also do that by pressing and holding that button for many seconds until it powers off. You can find your phone. This is a lovely one. If I select this, you can hear my phone in the background screaming. I use that quite often. You can enable do not disturb. You can enable the battery saving options. But I don't really see the point of purchasing a watch of this price, using it on battery saver, as this is the watch face you're gonna have. It's the time, and that's it. So I'm gonna leave it. All right. Wallet, if you have credit card compatible with Garmin, you can set this up in there. There's also clock. We will see another way to go there, but that's a way to reach that menu. There's many ways to reach many menu. can save the actual location. You can use the flashlight right here. But the flashlight can be enabled from anywhere by double tapping on this button. So if you double tap it, then you can control. If you do it quickly, you can control the intensity of the light from this to this. Or that's the green light if you are on the Tactix, and that's red light if you have the Fenix or Enduro. Once you wait a few seconds, you see that this menu that we had disappear, and we can control it anymore. But if you go into the flashlight app right here, then you can keep that open to control it at any time. If you press and hold that button, the menu button, while you are on the flashlight, you can enable the strobe. Then you can have a blink, a pulse, a beacon, the blitz, and there's also the custom one that you will be able to, if you go in it, choose the mode, the speed, and the color. All right. Then you can enable or disable the touchscreen. Personally, it's not something that I use. I like to use the buttons, but you can use it if you'd like. The sleep mode will enable your watch to, well, in fact, it will disable a lot of things on your watch, like notification, vibration, those kind of things to help you to sleep if you keep watching your watch. And the most important one, if you have an AMOLED model, this one is an MIP one. What is important about it is that, as you can see now, it just turned out much more darker. So actually, if I'm on in my bed and I want to turn on the backlight, you see that it's very dim. It's not great for right now, but when you sleep, it's pretty good. But if you have an AMOLED model, you have to know that every thing that you see on your screen is a light that is turned on. Every pixel that shows you something is a light that is on. An AMOLED, that's the way AMOLED screen works. So you need to have this enabled to sleep with the AMOLED model, as otherwise it will create a lot of lights. There's the night vision. That is only for the Tactix. That will take it to a very dim light. Stealth mode is also only for the Tactix. You got a kill switch. Kill switch will kill your watch in 10 seconds. It's a factory reset. If you don't press on anything, it will factory reset the watch. There's also a shortcut for doing it. That is those two buttons together. It's the same principle. Only for the Tactix. Those three options are only for the Tactix. You got voice comment. I never use that. I don't like to use that, but if you go on the interrogation mark, it will tell you what you can do with that. But it worked. Set a 15-minute timer. No. Set a 15-minute timer. All right. I just prefer doing my stuff using the button. Phone assistant. This is another one that I never tested. Sorry, no interest into that for my part. You can control the volume of your watch. Water ejection. If you go swim and you want to take the water out, you can visit this and it will make that sound. And we've done the tour, but if we go in the menu here, you can go and add controls. And as you can see here, also there's a lot of stuff that you can add. A lot of it. Still a lot of it. Some that we already saw into the glance. Then, if I press and hold that button again, there's access to the clock. Into the clock, there is alarms. So here I can set alarms, let's say for at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And here I have some options. So do I want to repeat it? Can have it once, daily, weekday, weekend, or custom, where you can choose exactly which day you want to have. Let's set it to once. Sound and vibe. Personally, I like to only have vibe, so no volume. This way, if you're sleeping with someone, it will vibe on your wrist. You won't wake up anybody, the person you are sleeping with, or if you are in a dorm, whatever. You don't disturb anybody. It just vibe on your wrist. You want to have the backlight on when it rings, and you can put a label on it if you'd like, and then you can just save. And there you go. It's enabled, and you see that it will ring tomorrow at 10, and it will only vibe, no sound. And if I'd like, I can disable it. Status off. Done. Now it's disabled. Great. You can set a timer. There was already this one that is enabled. That is the 15-minute timer that we start a bit earlier. I can stop it, reset it, go back. I can create another one. It's a quick timer. And I can choose the time of minutes using those two buttons here. If I want to change the hour, I can go back, change the hour, go to the seconds, if I'd like, select, and it starts. At some point I can stop it, reset it, and at the end, of course, it will ring. What else? Stopwatch, which is a regular stopwatch. Let's reset that, start it. There we go. We've got a stopwatch. You can create lap over here. You can create as many lap as you want. I personally use it to bill my customer when I'm working outside of the office. Then at the end, when you stop, you can hit the 3-dot button over here and save the activity. So it will send the timer on your Garmin Connect app. You're sure to not lose track of this time. So when you come to billing later, you got it on your app. You can put alternate time zone. You can enter a countdown up to a calendar day. And that's pretty much it. Then we're gonna make a tour of the watch menu. So from here, I'm gonna go down here to watch settings. Aviation is a feature only for the Tactix. You got access to, well, the aviation settings. I did not really play with that. I'm not into aviation, sorry. Notification and alert will be the notification from your watch. The smart notification is the one from your, not your watch. This is the notification from your phone. Health and wellness. This is something you can enable if you want to have a daily summary, the stress alert, rest alert, have your heart rate, those kind of thing. If you want to have an alert that tell you, hey, you should move because you're not moving, you can have those kind of things. That's here. You can have morning reports and those kind of things. That's all inside here. Sound and vibe. You can choose to have volume when you press on your buttons and those kind of things. Button tones, as you can see. All right, I don't like it. You can enable vibration also. Display and brightness. Here, just for the demo, I set it to 100%. By default, it's at 20%. You got a lot of feature here. Connectivity is where you're gonna connect your sensors and accessories. You can also pair your phone. You can connect it to the Wi-Fi. It's compatible with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi only. Focus mode. So if I go into sleep, for example, I can set a schedule for sleep. You don't really have to do that, but I did realize that it will track your sleep better if you're sleep schedule is on and you sleep during that schedule. You can enable to have a watch face for sleep. This is an MIP model, so I don't want to have it by default. Otherwise, it turns to the screen that I showed you earlier, on which there is about no information. So you have settings to modify your watch when it is in sleep mode. You can also modify it for when you are into an activity. There's a lot of information that you can modify here. Activities. I don't see the point of having this menu here. I'll show you how to do it later directly on the activities. Health and wellness. Wrist heart rate. You got the broadcast heart rate option here. That is a feature that let you share the heart rate from your watch to another device. Might be useful sometime. Map and navigation, that are still menus for map and navigation. Safety and tracking will let you enable live track. If I want to set it to auto start, this the live track is something you can enable on Garmin Connect, that when you go for an activity, the list of people that can follow you on live track will receive an email and we'll be able to live track you. See, notify recipient. You can choose a recipient inside here that you want to send the message. Yeah. Incident detection. Okay, this one. Well, you have to enable it. You have to choose the contact that you want to send the message if something happened to you. But personally, I disable it, because I did find out that if I brake too hard on my bike, if I clap my hands or many things, it will detect it as an incident. When that happened, you have 15 seconds to cancel it, and sometimes you don't realize it. And what it does is that it stops your activity and create a new activity about incident, and it kind of ruins your activity, or at least split it. Emergency contact will only show you what are your emergency contact. You've got the music app, on which you can choose a music provider. If you want to add service, you can do that here, but you can also do that on the app of music. That is just right there. If you press and hold that button, that will take you to the music app. The music app can be used in several ways. If we go in the menu over here, you can choose to, pair your headphone, and you can choose music provider. So actually there is Spotify, there is My Music, that would be MP3 files that you can put into the watch. You can use phone control, which is the one that I use the most. So it becomes a kind of remote. So if I'm listening to Tidal on my phone, I've got my headphone connected to my phone, and then I can hit play, skip, I can crank the volume, I can do that all from the watch, but I only control the phone. But if you want to have music straight into your watch, you can go into Spotify, and actually, yes, I can play on the speaker or into the headphone if I connect it on the watch. And it was playing. It's I mean, you can hear the music through the speaker, but it's a crappy speaker. I mean, it's a great speaker for a watch, but it's still a crappy speaker. About that, for the phone, you can hear well the person that is talking to you, but the microphone seems to be terrible because the other person will hear you like crap. User profile, this is just your information about your age, height, and weight. Power manager, that's interesting. You can enable the battery saver right here, but activity power modes. Here, you've got power mode. So actually with the battery I have right now, if I'm using extended power mode on an activity, I will have 72 hours of battery left. Max battery will disable heart rate, phone and music app for 186 hours. Max accuracy will use the best satellite combination possible and only give 44 hours. Jacket mode will disable heart rate for 55 hours. And you can add a new one. You see, just name it A to be quick. So you can choose the satellite you want to have. So you see from the default mode, again, don't change -4, turn off +5, GPS only, or enable you can all satellite and multi-band. All satellite is the possibility to connect to GPS, Galileo, and all other that are compatible with the watch, and multi-band can connect to 2 systems at the same time. Then you can choose your option about music, phone, and those kind of things, and it will tell you how much time of battery you will have with that feature. Actually, this one, I will remove it. Battery percentage, it's quite interesting. If you want to enable the possibility to see the battery percentage, you can do that here. Same for the battery estimate. Personally, I did enable those two. So this way, so when I'm going into the glance, you see here I got my battery percentage and the time remaining. And when I start an activity, we'll come to that later, I can see the percentage of battery and the time remaining right there. This is because I have both option enabled. So let's go back to the watch settings. Under power manager, low battery alert. If you want to have an alert when the battery becomes low, you can enable that here. And we've got also systems. There we've got a very interesting one, the shortcuts. And the thing about it is that those buttons can do some shortcuts. This means that, for example, what I did set up on this one, if I hold the start button, which is this one, this will change sport. If I hold back, that's what I told you earlier, it brings me back to the watch face. I show you also that when I hold the down button over here, it goes to music, but I did also set up start plus down to enable or disable the touchscreen, as you can see. Now disabled. Dual grid, kill switch, and basically you see back plus up would be those one, and then you can select a feature to put on that shortcut. There's a lot of options available, and I do explain all of them in the video just right here. Very interesting video that I recommend you to take a look at it. You can put a passcode on your watch. I never tested that one. There's the do not disturb option again here. Night vision is only for the Tactix, and we saw that also earlier, but you got features into here that you can modify the night vision. Compass, altimeter, depth sensor, time. You can change the language here, and there is a lot of language available. All right, voice. Advanced, can choose the format, your units for distance, pace, elevation, and those kind of things. Restore and reset will be here, that you can do a factory reset if you want to do that on your watch. You can software update over here, but by default the auto update is enabled. So you probably won't need to do that, but if you want to check for updates, you can do that here, and you can have the information about your watch. Let's go back to the watch face, and now we are ready to go inside the activity. For this, press the start button, which will take you to that page. There is some option under that I personally never use. I always only go into the activities. There's a voice note over here. Okay, but let's restart that. Go into the start menu, select activities. Here is my favorite activity list, so I can only select my activity from right there. But if there's an activity that I'm not doing that often, for example, maybe I'm kayaking today, I can go down to more, and that would be not swimming, water sport, scuba, kayak. All right, I can select it, and then I can start my kayak activity just by pressing the start right there. And that's it. If I'm kayaking often, I'll do something different. I can edit. I go into activities. I go down to edit. And then I can add. And from here, I can select that water sport and add it just by selecting it. I've seen multisport. You can create multisport activity. For example, we got triathlon, duathlon, brick, swim run, or custom, on which you can select the activity you want to have on the list. I personally never use it because once you select it, you are stuck with it. And while you are into an activity, you can have the option of changing sport to transform your activity into a multisport activity. And you don't have to follow the order of what you set into that multisport mode. You can use it if you'd like. I just tell you that I'm not using it. So let's go for a hike. Oops, I was into edit. So that was to modify the order. So let's start a hike. Before, actually, I could start the hike just by pressing over here. But if we go under, you've got training, navigate, hike settings, and watch settings. Hike settings, navigation, and training, you can all access that while you are into the activity. Also the same thing for the watch settings. But I want to make clear that the watch settings that is over here give you access to the very same option that we've just saw a few minutes ago, but those are for the hiking activity. So if you want to change something about the power management, if you want to change something about the brightness of your screen and those things, this will only apply to that activity. So I'll restart just to show you how simple it is. To start the activity, you press the start button, you go into activities, you select hike, and you say start. The activity is now started. So I've got the graph, I've got the distance, those kind of things. I've got the compass. I've got several pages over here. That's the default one. I did not edit that one. I've got the map. And the activity is started. At the end, if I want to stop it, I can press the stop button. From there, I can resume right now. I can save the activity. I can resume later, which will take me to the home screen. One thing very important, I think I like to return to the watch face sometime into the activity, and they did modify something on the watch that do not let you do that. So if I start the activity again, you see I can press and hold that button and go back here. It's not like that by default, and if you want to do that, that's in the shortcuts that we saw earlier. Then I can return to the activity just like that. What option do we have else? If I pause the activity, you've got create a lap, back to start, recovery heart rate, and discard to just delete the activity. Let's restart. When you are into the activity, you have access to, if I press and hold that button here, change sport if you want to select another sport. For example, you were on the hike and you see a gym and you want to train right here. Well, you can do that. That was a weird one, but you can save location. So if you want to drop something on the side of the trail and come back to get it later, you can save the actual location, give it a name, and have it on your map to help you to go back to your equipment later. Navigate will let you choose if you have a course that you have pre-built. If you want to go to somewhere, you see we've got explore nearby, so you can find a city that is around. You can find ATM. That's actually in French. That's weird, but whatever. So if I'm looking for cities, we can find the nearest cities, select it, and it will take me to that city. I did a complete video about navigation. If you want to know more about this, you can see it just right there. There is also one important one. If you want to change all the data fields that you have over here, you can press and hold the menu button. You can go into the IKE settings, and on the data screens here, you can hit the pen. You can change the layout actually, like that. And you can also change the data fields. There's a lot of data fields. And for this, again, I did a complete video about this on which I will explain every single data field and everything that you can do. You can see that video just right there. And then I think it's pretty much it. That does the tour of how that Garmin Fenix 8 series watches work. I hope this was helpful. And you can also see all my other tutorial about this watch. There's a lot to see. And again, I hope this was helpful.